Hi there, welcome back to Not Another Budget. I'm Nicole, and on this channel I'm attempting to cash budget my way out of debt, fix several years of financial misbehaviour, and bring a bit of smoothness back into life after what's been a really tumultuous 2 to 3 months so far, both financially and personally. Now, today it dawned on me that I've been putting out a lot of planning and a lot of organising and a lot of trying to get my head around what is going on content recently. The reason for that is I am literally trying to figure out what to do, where to go, and how to work everything out. And I'm trying to put good foundations and good steps in place so that I can make a plan, stick to a plan, and hit my goals. In short, I was thinking about making this video some kind of like 2025 review so far, mid-year review, etc. I already do a quarterly review of my goals, and I've just done a halfway through a quarter two review, again part of that planning, and it's not even the end of May, so we're going to park that video idea for now. What I do want to try and come up with, if I can, is to try and hash out some form of strategy. We know that my income as it stands currently is not enough to pay my debts or even to think about setting up decent minimums. With that, therefore, there is the need to increase my income. And I want to try and break down, if I can, today for you, hopefully in not a super long manner, but this is me. We can't guarantee that you're going to have a super long, concise video. That's not, those words aren't really in my vocabulary. But also to try and bear in mind the fact that there are things that I need to implement pretty sharpish, and I'm trying to work out the best way to go around them. This isn't necessarily a call for advice in the comments, because I think ultimately this is not going to be the video where I light on upon a realization and then there's the spark of the comment that inspires the things that I need to do. I'm still very much at the minute in the weeds trying to sort everything out, but I have to be conscious and aware of the fact that I have got things that are starting to rattle and break, because of course they are, or rattling and attempting to break, and I am holding it together with duct tape, a glare, and a prayer, and like masses of fingers and toes that are crossed. That my debt I really want to deal with. My income does not allow me to deal with it, and I need to increase my income. There is a massive unknown at the minute as it regards to whether I'm getting full pay or half pay. And again, daily update, have not been told by payroll, have chased for clarification, haven't had clarification. I would say that, like, there's not a conspiracy out there. My school are just rubbish at speaking to people, even when it's something as serious as, can I pay my bills or not, please? What I do know is that if I get half pay, it will be less than what I have received before, and it'll be less than what I've received before because I won't have had sick pay on there, and statutory sick pay has been topping up my contractual half pay so far. So I'll be down about £400. So rather than the £1,400 that I've been bringing in, I will probably bring in, if that's what we're looking at, like maybe £1,100 or £1,200 after working for 4 weeks. So there is potentially the risk where whatever I want to do gets delayed again in June, which is what we are working for. I'm working towards. Now, I'm going to raise the question tomorrow at my meeting with HR. What is going on with my probation? Am I under probation still? Was it paused? Do I need to complete a month of full pay or a month of full-time work not on phased return? What's happening there? Because that very much dictates whether my income is going to go up or not by at least £100 on top of any savings or like budget tweaking I do from September. And let's be fair, if I know that, then I can and I can look strategically at maybe, let's say for example, that from June, so money I get paid at the end of May, to August, so 1, 2, 3 paydays, which is 3 paydays. Let's say I do nothing with my debt, for example. I instead use the extra money that I've bought in to build up the savings, build up a cushion. If anything breaks in that time, deal with that breakage, and instead say that in September, when I have an extra £100 in my wages, I will hopefully, by that point, I know that the money I'm going to be paying out for Bowie is less. But in terms of like those squirrels that are fighting for my attention financially, one of the squirrels that is wanting to kind of work its way to the front and be annoying and feral is the fact that I think I need to build up a buffer for him. My gut is telling me I have one last good summer with him and that I might see him through this year. But the moment he starts to decline, I know that is going to cost me money that I don't have in savings, and he is uninsurable because of his condition and because of his age. So my gut is telling me that I need to start squirreling money away, hence the squirrel analogy. And it doesn't need to be big amounts. It might need to be £2, £3, £4, £5, £10 here or there. But I'd like to know over this summer period how that's looking. How much money am I actually saving, and how much money is definitely coming back in my budget because I'm not having to pay for specialist food, and because I'm ordering his medication online and it's significantly cheaper. At the minute, I have a rough idea of how much I think I'm bringing back into my budget, but I'd like to see consistently over a couple of months period how that's looking. So maybe in September, between a pay rise and savings just from the basis that my cat's not costing me so much, maybe there is £200 to £300 sitting there on top of anything else I can bring in. And then all of a sudden I can start making that progress. And I put, say, a 10-month, 12-month timer and go in a year, I clear all this off. So maybe it looks like from September when my income goes up, maybe. Maybe in September I start tackling with my debt, and then I give myself this 3-month kind of buffer zone to get myself sorted, to give a bit of stability and build a safety net back in, because I feel like that safety net is not really there. But I don't know if I can delay dealing with my debt until September. I'm aware that there is a company who is being very aggro-y and very kind of legalese and threatening legal stuff. Going through the pre-legal process of, we'll take you to court, you need to pay us. And I'm like, you're not a priority debt, I can't pay you right now. And even the money I did have in my debt, they're not allowed to be paid as a priority, even if I were actively making payments to debt. So that sucks for everyone all round. But I don't know how I can go about that. So my income on a standard month is 1,980. That's pretty much everything at the minute taken up. I've not done the maths to work out what the reduction is from a Bowie perspective. And obviously over the summer, I may not need to be filling up as regularly with fuel once I'm on summer holidays, but that will be a 6-week period where I might be doing longer one-off journeys. Not sure yet. So I have 1,980 at the minute as a standard month. And that runs until August, end of August. And then from September, and this is just very, very, very rough numbers, my income is going to go to about 2,110-ish is what I take home if I move up a pay scale. So working with rough numbers, we're going to say that from September, that will go up there. I will also receive a state pay rise of 2.8% minimum at the minute. It hasn't been agreed upon, let's just put it that way, in terms of like balloting and voting and accepted. And if we do go ahead and go on strike, and I will strike in that scenario, if that event that's called, I will obviously lose money on those days, but I will strike in solidarity, because it's not about just me. So potentially from September, I have money that I'm bringing back into my budget. Plus, in the meantime, there is the plan to... Thank you, Train. Thank you. As it regards to YouTube, what I am thinking is to use my YouTube income for my council tax payments. Hear me out. It's an extra bill which has come back in. It's a bill which I can set and move to pay to go out on the day that YouTube pays, and it's also a target that I can set for myself to make sure that my YouTube payments meet a significant chunk of that. It's a bill which has had to come back into my budget because I'm no longer a student, but it's a bill which is, at least £120 with some change. My budget can't accommodate £120 extra easily, so if I can try and trick the way I structure things so that something covers it in its entirety and I can still safeguard that 1980, which at the minute is having to absorb my council tax, which I have to legally pay. That's not a like optional thing that I can opt out of. I was a student, I was free. I'm no longer a student, I now have to pay it. I get single person discount. But if I can also, again, working with theoretical numbers here, I'm just going to say 125. I think 1 month is 126 and the rest are 123. So we're going to settle on 125. Am I doing that right? Taking 125 out of the 1980 means that the 1,855 that I have sitting and displayed, hopefully here for you to see, means that all of a sudden my bills and my core costs drop to 1,855. And I've got a bit of room for movement, 125. If I then take off and let's say I'm saving another 150 on Bowie, then actually £1,700 tight will cover and should cover core costs. Bills, basic food, basic travel, bit of toiletries, cat food, medication every 3 months. That then means that if I can cover my council tax through my YouTube earnings, then I definitely have 275 to work with from July, because we're working on the assumption, or from the end of June for July. We're working on the assumption at the minute that I'm not going to get my full wage. If I do, fantastically, we implement this earlier. A part of me is also tempted to see, and I need to run the numbers on my budget to see if I can keep that additional 600 that I rolled in to my budget from last month. Can I keep something just rolling there as an in-budget buffer that's kind of there accounted for, but ideally not touched or spent? Having 275, and then let's say through Vinted I earn an extra, because YouTube will look after, let's say YouTube is looking after the council tax quite nicely. I'm getting 125, 130, whatever it is, a month off YouTube. I'm putting out content either daily or every other day. I'm putting those work and those hours in. That's covering that. There is therefore definitely money there in my budget. Let's say Bowie settles out and I don't have to pay out 300 for him. I only have to pay out, or 250 for him. I'm only having to pay out 100 for him, for example. All of a sudden we're back to the 275. And then let's say I have, let's say I average £60 a week off of Vinted, and let's make it a 4-week one. So that's another 240. And then let's say I do one car boot sale a month where I average overall an additional, I'll just make it 85 after my float. That gives me an additional £600 a month to play with. These are the numbers that I'm trying to talk through and work out, because I'm trying to find not an exit route to get out of my debt, an exit route to start tackling this problem. In short. Because it's a numbers game. It's an income issue. It's now no longer a behaviour issue. It is now just back down to a numbers issue. And if I can put a definite start date, July. Like, July. I've got to renew my DBS, which is £16. My car driver's license I've got to renew, that's £14. That's all going to come out, I think, around the end of this month, so crossing over into June's wages. I've got to sort out a teacher planner because I don't work for an employer that supplies you with a teacher planner, so that is at least like £15 plus, depending on what you're looking for and depending on what you spend. And I know there are varieties and options, it's fine, it's not even something I've looked at yet, but I'm already spending additionally, you know, at least another 50 has already got to be spent end of this month or next month. I've not quite worked out when I'm going to do it yet. There's little things I can do in the meantime. So I can do a pantry cookout. I can set myself a grocery challenge, wherein I maybe give myself £20 or £25 a week. In the past, it's been about £100, but with the cost of living being what it is now, I might just up it to 120 or 125. It's something Gillian Budgets runs periodically throughout the year, and she's a fantastic channel that I fully recommend you go watch. So there's things I can do in terms of over June, if June is down, seeing if I can bring a rollover in, and also seeing what savings and stuff I can make to offset the things that I have to go ahead and purchase. I just feel very stressed. I do need to just try and work out and nail what I'm finding from where. If I can find space, if I'm not tapped out at 1980, because it frustrates me that I am, particularly because I don't think my budget is outrageous. £950 worth of rent aside, and Bowie's extortionate costs aside, which are hopefully being dealt with. Even if I don't take the full 600 that I could in theory find, even if I just take 400, an additional £400 a month freed up to go towards debt after taking 3 months, 2 to 3 months, to go ahead and build up a buffer and a cushion, which will vary for different things because I'm aware that Christmas is going to start approaching soon, and I know it's May and we don't really want to talk about the big C word, but around these budgeting parts and many other budgeting kind of parts, we are fans of saving for Christmas so that we don't just land it all on like the doorstep of the big day itself. Yeah, that's possibly more realistic. It's trying to deal with, doesn't Dave Ramsey use like a shovel in a hole analogy? Like I'm in a hole and I'm trying to dig out with a toothpick. Because that's how little I have to work with. So it's trying to find space somewhere without going ahead and doing a full budget breakdown. And I'm very tempted to go ahead and just start drafting out the possibilities for June's budget and then the possibility for July's budget as well, and try and list out what are the squirrels that are taking my attention, what are the things that are there going, oh, let's do this and let's try this, and you need to think about this and you need to remember that. And I'm feeling very kind of very scatterbrained. I think yesterday I said I was feeling untethered. There's the same methodology applies. And car boots are really a summer thing. They're not an all year round thing. But I could grow Vinted and actually do something with my Etsy. Okay. I'm going to leave it there. It's just a little bit of a shorter video today. I'm not feeling 100% physically or mentally, and I was kind of very umming and ahhing about whether I did a video, because it's the kind of day where like you drop a nail, you break a nail and you burst into tears. It's that kind of day. Very tired, very kind of physically achy and stiff and sore as well. So the phased return is catching up to me. I'm hoping tomorrow I'll be able to kind of, as a result of my meeting with HR, have a bit of clarity over full pay, half pay, because that's a massive question mark that's hanging over everything. That's the difference between me being able to pull in extra money in June and it go into a cushion, or my fridge breaks and I can replace it and then I don't have to think about it, because there's a possibility that that's going to potentially happen. And how's my time looking and what am I doing there, versus I need to bring in all of that extra money to plug that income gap again. I'm very low energy today, so I am going to call it. Let me know, as a fun exercise, if you're willing to share, what money have you, without increasing your income, what money have you managed to claw back from your budget, where you know that kind of things are tight anyway. Let me know, what's the biggest win that you've managed to claw back from your budget when you've previously looked at a situation, let's say you're in a hole and you've got a toothpick to dig yourself out. What have you managed to find, do, what have you looked at? You know, there are some trade-offs that I can't make. I'm now down to one subscription and I'm going to keep my one subscription, because £12.99 is still less than a TV license at £14.57. Goddamn TV license. And the odd one-off Amazon when it works out cheaper for me to pay for an Amazon membership for a month in order to get the things that I need from there, mainly mailing bag, packing supplies, and the odd household thing here or there. I think until I do a draft budget, taking into account lesser money spent on Bowie, I am still at the minute feeling a little bit unseen, and plus trying to track what the squirrels want. By squirrels, I mean all of those little financial things that you're just like, I'm breaking and I need to sort this out, and this is going onto my to-do list. I joke and say I'm unorganised because I feel it. I don't think I am, which is why this is really frustrating. I will see you all tomorrow. This video is going to come out a little bit later today, as you've already established. I'm going to be playing around over the next week or so with kind of what I upload when, and upload times and things, but I'm still going to try and stick to the daily videos if I can. It just might mean that the content is a little bit is a little bit more low energy than it has been. I am therefore going to love you and leave you. Have a fantastic budgeting week wherever you are in the world, and I will see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.